Okay, so I think we can start now because it is already 3:05 p.m. Okay, so first of all, good afternoon to all, and thank you for joining this demo class today. Okay, so before I start this demo class, let me introduce myself. So my name is Mazhar Hussain, and I am from Chennai, and I have been teaching English, Hindi, and also Tamil since 2016. Okay, because I teach on multiple platforms. I have students not only from India, but I also have students in other countries, okay, like Japan, China, okay, European countries, okay, the US, okay, Canada. Okay, I have students not only in India but also in other countries. Okay, so this is my short introduction. Okay, and I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so that you can see what I am going to teach now. So give me 1 minute. Let me share my screen. Okay, I hope all of you can see my screen. Okay, so if you have any questions or if you have any comments, okay, you can type in the chat box. Okay, and you can also ask your questions, okay, at the end of the session. Okay, but until that time you can use the chat box. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. So this is the Hindi demo class. So before I go to the next slide, okay, so I just want to give some information about language learning. Okay, so this is not only about Hindi. Okay, it can be any language. Okay, if you want to learn any language, okay, so you need to keep these things in mind. Okay, so first of all, as far as Hindi is concerned, okay, so now if a student, okay, knows only English, okay, if a student knows only English, I mean he does not know any other language, he does not know any other Indian language, okay, then for those students, understanding the sentence structure or maybe understanding the concepts, okay, may be a little difficult when compared to a student who knows another Indian language. So for example, it can be Tamil, or it can be Kannada, or it can be Telugu or Malayalam. Okay, it can be any other language. Okay, because the sentence structure and the grammar, okay, in Hindi is similar to the sentence structure that we use in Tamil or Kannada or any other Indian language. Okay, so if you know any other Indian language, it would be easier for you to understand the grammar, to understand the sentence structure, and also to understand the basic concepts. Okay, so that is very important. Okay, and the second most important thing is the atmosphere. Okay, because for example, when you are learning a language, okay, so you may attend the classes. Okay, so you may attend 1 hour per day or maybe a few hours in a week. Okay? But that 1 hour or maybe few hours in a week is not sufficient, okay, to learn a language. Okay, because when you attend a class, you gain knowledge, okay, and you understand the concepts. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can get clarified. Okay, but if you want to speak, okay, then you need the atmosphere, okay, to speak. Okay, for example, maybe if a student who does not know Hindi is maybe in New Delhi, or maybe in Mumbai, okay, or in some other city in North India, okay. So he has the atmosphere, right? He has the Hindi speaking atmosphere, okay. So it would be easier for him to practice speaking, okay. So that is why, even if you don't have that atmosphere, so you have to create an atmosphere. So when I say you have to create, what you have to do is you have to be in constant touch with the language. So for example, you have to watch videos in Hindi, okay. Or if you have any friends who can speak Hindi, then you have to practice some simple conversations in Hindi, okay? Or you have to read some Hindi, maybe some articles. Okay, so you have to do something besides attending the class, because just by attending the class, okay, you can only understand the concepts, you can understand the grammar, okay, but you have to do more than attending the class. Okay, so you have to watch, you have to listen, okay, you have to read, okay, so that you get familiar, okay, with the language. Okay, so I just want to share these things, so before I continue further. So now I am going to the first slide of my presentation. Okay, so this is the first slide. Okay, and I will also try to maybe explain in Tamil. Okay, I hope the students can also understand Tamil. Okay, so now here I am going to teach the subject pronouns. Okay, so I hope you know what is a subject. Okay, so for example, I am in Chennai, right? So now, if I want to talk about Chennai, so then Chennai is the subject. Okay, and if I want to talk about me, then I am the subject. If I want to talk about Hindi, or if I want to talk about mathematics, or if I want to talk about maybe Canada, okay, or any other nouns, okay, so that is the subject. Okay, and you know what is a pronoun? Okay, so pronoun is a word that we use, okay, in place of a noun. So for example, mazhar. Okay, so when I'm talking about me, then I use I. Okay, I is a pronoun. Okay, or you, it is a pronoun, or he, she. Okay, these are the pronouns. Okay, so these are the basics. Okay, if you want to learn Hindi, so then you should know the basics. Okay, you should not have any confusion, or you should not have any doubts, okay, about the basics. Okay, you should know what is a noun, or you should know what is a pronoun. Okay, so here I am going to talk about the first person singular, okay, which is I. Okay, so I am the first person, okay, and the first person singular. Okay, so for I in Hindi, we say my. Okay, for I in Hindi, we say my. And as you can see in Tamil, okay, we say naan. Okay, so now if you want to say something about you in Hindi, then you have to use the word my. Okay, because my means I. Okay, so here I have given some examples. So the first example is I am Mazhar Hussain. Okay, which is my name. Okay, so my Mazhar Hussain whom. Okay, my Mazhar Hussain whom. So here my is I, Mazhar Hussain is my name, and this whom, it is am. So whenever we use am in English, then in Hindi we have to use whom. Okay, so some people, they read it as hoon. Okay, Hoon. Okay, because it is not hoon. So yen is half sound. Okay, you should not read it as hoon. So you have to read it as hoon. Okay, hoon. Okay, so my Mazhar Hussain whom. Okay, and now if I want to say I live in Chennai, So I have to say my Chennai mein hu. Okay, here may is in, it is a preposition. Okay, so may means it is in. So, and my Chennai mein hu. Okay, in Tamil we say naan Chennai la irken. Okay, so if you want to say I am in Chennai in Hindi, so you have to say my Chennai mein hu. Okay, so what is may? It is in. And what is my? My is I, okay, which is naan. And now the next sentence is my Hindi sikhata hu. Okay, so it is my Hindi sikhata hu. So here sikhana means it is to teach. Okay, because we have two words. One is sikhana, okay, and the next word is seekhna. Okay, so when you say seekhna, so it is like to learn. Okay, and when you say sikhana, it is to teach. Because I teach Hindi, so I say I teach Hindi, which is my Hindi sikhata hu. Okay, if I want to say I learn Hindi, then I should say my Hindi seekhta hu, not sikhata hu. Okay, so there is a difference between seekhna and sikhana. Okay, so this is like, these are some of the sentences that I can say using my. Okay, as I mentioned before, my means it is I. Okay, in Tamil it is naan. Okay, I hope you understood the first person singular. So now, so I am going to go to the next slide. Okay, so here I have given this like in a tabular format. Okay, so as you can see from the word my, okay, we can derive few words. Okay, so the first word that we can derive from my is, it is mega. Okay, so if you translate into English, so mega means it is my, my, my. Okay, in Tamil we say yen. Okay, so now here in English and also in Tamil, so we use only one word, okay, which is my. But in Hindi we use three words, okay, for my. Okay, the first word is mega, which is used for masculine. Okay, when I say masculine, it is the male gender. And mary we use for feminine. Okay, that is the female gender. And mere we use for plural, that is more than one. And we also use for respect. So when we have to give respect to a person, okay, then we use say mere. Okay, so for my in English, in Hindi we have three words. The first word is mega, the second word mere. Okay, so now mega is used for masculine. Okay, so when I say masculine, it is not about my gender. Okay, it is about the gender of the person, or it can be the gender of the object I want to talk about. Okay, it is not about my gender. Okay, so for example, as a man, or as a male gender, okay, I cannot always use mega. Okay, I have to use mega, and the gender depends on the opposite person, or it depends on the opposite object. So for example, if I am talking about my brother, okay, so brother means he is a male gender, right? So now I have to use mega. Okay, but now if I am talking about my sister, okay, so I am talking about my sister, so the sister is feminine, it is a female gender. Okay, I am male, okay, but my gender does not matter. So what matters is the gender of the opposite person, okay, or the gender of the object we are talking about. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so it is not about your gender, it is about the gender of the opposite person, or it is about the gender of the object. Okay, so now mega is used for masculine, meri is used for feminine, mere is used for plural and respect, and we also have mujhe, okay, because in English we always use I. Okay, so for example, I am Mazhar Hussain. Okay, I use I. I live in Chennai. Okay, I use I. And even if I want something, okay, I can say I want something. Okay, I use I. Okay, but in Hindi we have to use mujhe. Okay? So if you translate into English, mujhe means it is to me. Okay, in Tamil we say yanakku. Okay, so because we don't have this word in English, because we always use I. Okay, even if you want something, or even if you want to do something, okay, we always use I. Okay, but in Hindi and also in most of the Indian languages, so we have this word which is mujhe. Okay, mujhe means it is to me. Okay, so from the first person singular, which is I, so we can derive mera, meri, mere, and mujhe. Okay, I hope you understood. Okay, so now here I'm going to make, because I have given some sentences, okay, using mega, which is masculine. Okay, so now the first sentence is Mera naam Mazhar Hussain hai. Okay, so the meaning is my name is Mazhar Hussain. Okay, so here the word name, right? The word name, I'm talking about the word name, is always masculine. Okay, it is always masculine. Okay, so whether the person's name is Mazhar Hussain or Venkat or maybe Kausalya or Pooja, whatever it may be, okay, when we are talking about our name, so we should always use mega. Okay, so for example, if there is a girl and her name is Pooja, okay, so Pooja cannot say Meri naam Pooja hai. Okay, if she says Meri naam Pooja hai, then that sentence is grammatically incorrect. Okay, whether it is Pooja or whether it is Mazhar or whether it is John or whatever it is, when we are talking about the name, we should always use mera. Okay, so mera naam Mazhar Hussain hai, or mera naam Pooja hai, or mera naam John hai. Okay, it does not matter. Okay, whether you are a male or female, you should always use mera. Okay? And then the word hai. Okay, so hai is equivalent to is. Okay, is. Okay, so when there is in English, okay, then in Hindi, so we have to use hai. Okay, so mera naam Mazhar Hussain hai. Okay, and as I mentioned before, when there is am in English, we have to use okay, H O N. Okay, and now the next sentence is Mera ghar Chennai mein hai. Okay, so here ghar is house. Okay? And again, ghar is masculine. Okay, ghar is masculine, so it is not feminine. As I mentioned before, in Hindi, we have gender for objects also. Okay, because we have gender for people. Okay, but we also have gender for the objects. Okay, so here the object house, okay, it comes under the masculine gender. So that is why I have to say mera ghar. Okay, I should not say meri ghar. If I say meri ghar, then the sentence is grammatically incorrect. And now in is may. Okay, as I told you already, in is a preposition, and in Hindi, so we say may. Okay, and now the next sentence is मेरा दोस्त एक doctor है. So now dost is a friend. Okay, so my friend is a doctor. So here I am talking about a male friend. I am not talking about a female friend. Okay, when I say mera dost, I am talking about a male friend. Okay, so these are some of the sentences. Okay, so we can make using the pronoun which is mera. Okay, in English it is my, my. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now the next slide is, it is meri, okay, which is for feminine. Okay, so now here मेरी बहन का नाम आयशा है. So here I am not talking about me, I am talking about my sister's name. So sister is a female. Okay, so feminine. So here, as I mentioned before, I have to take into consideration the gender of the opposite person or the gender of the object. Okay, since sister is a female gender, so I have to say Meri Behan. Okay, I should not say Mera Behan. Okay, I have to say Meri Behan ka naam Aisha hai. It means my sister's name is Aisha. So here sister is Behan, and this ka, right? So ka is also a preposition. Okay, so if you translate into English, it is like of, of. Okay, and sometimes it is also like apostrophe s. Okay, because we can also say of, and we can also say apostrophe yes. Okay, so ka means it is of or apostrophe yes. Okay, now the next sentence, okay, which is मेरी गाड़ी बाहर है. Okay, so here what is gadi? So gadi means it is vehicle. Okay, in Tamil we say vandi. Okay, so here the word gadi is always feminine. Okay, it belongs to the female gender. Okay, so in the previous slide, okay, we had house, right? So house is male gender. Okay, and here when we talk about gadi, so gadi is female gender. Okay, so now you may get a question. Okay, so now how to, because if it is a person, then we can easily like say like whether he or she is a male or a female, right? But when we are talking about an object, okay, how can we know or how can we identify whether the object is a male or female? Okay, so we should have some like a criteria, right? We should have some identification, right? So now one way of identifying the object's gender, okay, is, so I'm talking about the female gender. Okay, so one way of identifying the female gender of objects is, so for example, when the word ends with e sound. Okay, so I repeat, when the word ends, okay, I'm talking about the ending sound. So when the word ends with e sound, okay, then we can consider that object as female. So for example, here I say gadi. Okay, so gadi has the e sound. Okay, so for example, I can give like khidki. Okay, for example, the window, right? Okay, so for window in Hindi we say khidki, okay, which has e sound. Okay, or I can also give one more example, like for example, if you want to say chair, right? Chair, chair, okay, in Hindi. And for chair in Hindi we say kursi, KORSI. Okay, it also has the E sound. Okay, so now one way of identifying the female gender of an object is from its sound. Okay, so if it has the ending sound as E, okay, so then we can consider that object as female gender. Okay, so this is one way of understanding, or this is one way of identifying the gender of an object which is female. Okay, so that is why I say meri gadi bahar hai. Okay, bahar is outside, and for inside we say under. If you want to say my vehicle is inside, then you have to say meri gadi andar hai. Okay, so instead of using bahar, so the opposite is andar. Okay, and now here the next sentence, I am talking about my female friend. Okay, because in the previous sentence I talked about my male friend, but here I am talking about my female friend. So that is why I say meri dost. Okay, so again, it is not about my gender. Okay, it is about the gender of the opposite person. Okay, so that is why when I am talking about my female friend, okay, then I say मेरी दोस्त एक doctor है. Okay, so my friend is a doctor. Okay, so I hope you, because in Hindi the gender is very important. Okay, because we have to choose. Okay, we have to choose the pronouns based on the gender. Okay, whether you're talking about a male or whether you're talking about a female. Okay, so depending on the gender, so you have to choose the pronoun, because if the first word of the sentence is incorrect, okay, if the first word of any sentence, okay, is incorrect, then the remaining part of the sentence will also get incorrect. Okay, so that is why you should choose the first word of the sentence, okay, very carefully. Okay, so because you cannot by heart, okay, all these things, that is why you have to understand the concept, because the language, okay, is you cannot memorize. Okay, you have to understand the sentence structure. Okay, you have to understand the concepts. Okay, so if you don't understand and if you just memorize, okay, then I think that is not the right way of learning any language. Okay, not only Hindi. Okay, if you want to learn any language, okay, you can memorize the words. So for example, what is house, or what is for example vehicle, okay, or what is this, what is that. Okay, you can memorize these words. Okay, but the grammar, okay, the basic concepts, you must understand. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's go to the next slide. Okay, so which is mailing. Okay, if you translate into English, the meaning is my. Okay, my. Okay, so this melee we use for plural, which is more than one. Okay, and we also use for respect. So for example, when we are talking about a person, okay, who needs to be respected, so it can be a father, okay, or it can be a manager, or it can be a teacher, okay, or it can be your colleague. Okay, it can be anyone, okay, maybe who is maybe elder than you, or maybe who has to be like spoken with politely. Okay, then we have to always use mere. Okay, if I'm talking about my brother, okay, I'm talking about, for example, my younger brother, okay, then I can say mera. Okay, but when I'm talking about my elder brother, okay, so then I have to give respect, right? So I have to say mere. Okay, so here the first sentence is मेरे पिताजी एक engineer हैं. Okay, so mere is my, because father, okay, we have to give respect, so that is why I say mere. Okay, and for father we can say pita, and we can also say papa, and this the word g, right? So this is just a suffix. So for example, we add this suffix. Okay, so when we say their name, okay, with respect. So for example, in English, we say Mr., right? Or we say Miss, or we say Mrs. Okay, so we have so many, what is a salutation, right? So similarly, when we say G, so it is like we are giving respect to the person as well as to the person's name. Okay, so that is why I think for many people we say G. Okay, so for example, we have so many like Gandhi ji or Nehru ji. Okay, or we have so many people, right? Okay, so for when we add G, it is like we are giving respect to the person as well as to the person's name. Okay, so here as a father, right? Okay, like I had to give respect to the father, right? So I say Pitaji. Okay, so mere Pitaji ek engineer hai. So here it is hai, Hain. Okay, again the letter N is half sound. Okay, it is not hein. Okay, you should never say hein. You have to say it is hein. Okay, so here as we are talking about the father, okay, we say mere pitaji ek engineer hain. Okay, so now the next sentence is mere rishtedar USA mein hain. Okay, so here I am talking about my relatives. Okay, when I say relatives, it is more than one, right? I'm not talking about one person. So I'm talking about a group of people. Okay, so now it is rishtedar. Okay, so that is why I say mere rishtedar. Okay, kahan hai? USA mein hai. Okay, so they are in the USA. Okay, so this is about my. Okay, so for the English word my in Hindi, so we have three words. Okay, the first one is mera, which is used for masculine. The second word is meri, which is used for feminine, and mere, which is used for plural and respect. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So here it is mujhe. Okay, as I told you in the beginning, so we always use I in English. Okay, but in most of the Indian languages, we have this word. Okay, in Hindi we say mujhe, and in Tamil we say yanakku. Okay, I think in Telugu also, I think we say like naku. Okay, so in most of the Indian languages, okay, we have this word, okay, which is mujhe. Okay, and this word is used, the word mujhe is used when we want something, okay, or when we don't want something, okay, or when we like something and when we don't like something. And we also use this word when we are talking about doing some action. Okay, when we are talking about some actions, okay, we have to use the word mujhe. Okay, so mujhe is used when we want something, when we don't want something, when we need something, or when we like something, when we dislike something, and when we want to do something. Okay, so in these situations, okay, we have to use the word mujhe. So that is why learning Hindi from maybe Tamil to Hindi, okay, or maybe Telugu to Hindi, or maybe Kannada to Hindi, okay, it is easier than learning Hindi through English, okay, because in English, okay, I think most of the times we use the same words like again and again, right? We don't have different words, okay, but in most of the Indian languages we have more words, right? So for example, if you want to understand how to use mujhe, okay, then you should think, okay, in some other Indian language. Okay, so here the first sentence is mujhe pani chahiye. Okay, so what is the meaning? I want water. Okay, if you want to say this in Tamil, It is like எனக்கு தண்ணி வேணும். Okay? So water is pani and want is chahiye. Okay, so that is why I say mujhe pani chahiye. Okay, this means I want water. Okay, now if I want to say I like ice cream, okay, I like ice cream. So here I have to again use the word mujhe. Okay, it is mujhe ice cream pasand hai. So here pasand means it is like. Okay, and if you say pasand nahi hai, then it means like I don't like. You can say mujhe ice cream pasand hai, or you can also say mujhe ice cream pasand nahi hai. Okay, so pasand is like. And now here in the next sentence I am talking about an action. Okay, and what is the action? Going to Mumbai. Okay, so here mujhe kal Mumbai jana hai. Okay, so what is the meaning? I have to go to Mumbai tomorrow. Okay, so here when I say I have to, it means like I should, right? When I say I have to, okay, it means I should, right? I should go to Mumbai tomorrow. Okay, so here I have to say mujhe kal Mumbai jana hai. So here tomorrow is kal, but yesterday is also kal. In Hindi, for yesterday and also for tomorrow, okay, we use the same word, okay, which is kal. But now you may wonder, okay, how to, for example, if I am talking about yesterday or if I'm talking about tomorrow, okay, how can you understand whether I am talking about yesterday or whether I am talking about tomorrow? Okay, so that is why the tenses are important. Okay, so if I am using the past tense, okay, then I am talking about yesterday. And if I am using the future tense, okay, then it means I am talking about tomorrow. So that is why, depending on the tense, okay, we can understand whether the person is talking about yesterday or the person is talking about tomorrow. Okay, so now here I say mujhe kal Mumbai jana hai. Okay, so here I'm not talking about yesterday, so I'm talking about tomorrow, okay, about the future. So that is why I have to go to Mumbai tomorrow. Okay, so this is about the first person singular, okay, which is I. In Hindi we say my, okay, and in Tamil we say naan, and in Telugu we say nenu. Okay, and from the word my, so we can derive mera, which is for masculine, meri, which is for feminine, mere, which is for plural and respect, and we also have mujhe, which is to me. Okay, so when I want something, or when I need something, when I like something, when I don't like something, or when I want to do something, okay, we have to use the word mujhe. Okay, so I hope you understood. Okay, because these are the basics, right? These are the basics of Hindi. Okay, so you have to know these things. Okay, because if you want to make sentences, okay, in the future, okay, you should understand the basics. Okay, so you should not have any confusion, or you should not have any doubts. Okay, as I mentioned before, the first word of the sentence is important. Okay, if you don't get the first word right, okay, then the sentence may not be right. Okay, the sentence, the grammatically speaking, okay, the sentence may be incorrect. Okay, so now okay, so here I just want to teach you some the question tags, because once you know the subjects and once you know the pronouns, okay, for example, once you know what is you, what is he, what is she, okay, what is we, okay, what is they, okay. Now you may have to make sentences, right? Or you may have to ask questions. Okay, so now if you know the question tags, okay, then you can ask questions. Okay, and if you know the questions, then you can answer the questions. So this is how, okay, you can start making sentences. Okay, you can start asking questions and you can start answering those questions. Okay, so you should know the question tags. Okay, right? So here, these are the most the common, okay, the question tags or the question words, okay, that we use in any language. Okay, so the first question tag is what, okay, which is in Hindi we say kya. Okay, it is kya, K-Y-A. It is not kaya. Okay, it is kya. Okay, and then when, okay, it is kab. Okay, kab. And then we have where, it is kahan. So again, the n is half sound. Okay, if you say kahan, okay, if you say kahan, then the pronunciation is wrong. Okay, you should never say kahan. Okay, you should always say kahan. Okay, kahan. Okay, and then why. So why is again kyon. It is not kyon. Okay, it is not kyon. It is kyon. Okay, and then who. So who you can say kaun. Okay, so there is no half sound. Okay, you can say kaun, which is who. And then for which we have three words: kaunsa, kaunsi, and kaunse. Okay, so again here kaunsa is for masculine, kaunsi is for feminine, and kaunse is when we are talking about more than one. Okay, so here also we have to consider the gender, okay, of the object. Okay, kaunsa, kaunsi, and kaunse. So for example, if you want to ask which vehicle, okay, which vehicle, like yanda vandi. Okay, so now what is the gender of vehicle? It is feminine, right? It is female. So now I have to ask kaunsi gadi. Okay, if I ask kaunsa gadi, okay, then grammatically speaking, that question is wrong. Okay, because gadi is feminine. Okay, so I have to use the word kaunsi. Okay, not kaunsa. Okay, I have to say kaunsi gadi. Okay, so the next question tag is whose. Okay, and again for whose we have three words. The first one is kiska, kiski, and kiske. So kiska is for masculine, kiski is for feminine, and kiske is for more than one. So for example, kiski gadi. Okay, whose vehicle? Okay, gadi is feminine, right? So I have to say kiski gadi. Okay, whose vehicle? Okay, or kiska ghar. Ghar is house. Okay, and house is masculine. Okay, so I have to say kiska ghar. Okay, whose house. Okay, and now the next question tag is how. So again for how we have three words: kaisa, kaisi, and kaise. Okay, so again kaisa is for masculine, kaisi is for feminine, and kaise is for respect and also for more than one. So for example, now if I want to ask my friend, okay, so for example I have a friend, for example Rajkumar. Okay, so now if I want to ask Rajkumar, okay, how are you? Okay, so then I can say tum, okay, or tu kaisa hai. Okay, because I don't have to use this because he is my friend, right? I can say tu kaisa hai or tum kaise ho. But now if I want to ask maybe my female friend or my female student, okay, then I have to say tum kaisi ho. Okay, because she is a female, right? So I have to say tum kaisi ho. Okay, and now if I want to ask maybe my father, okay, or my uncle, or my manager, or my teacher, okay, or maybe my elder brother, okay, then I have to say aap kaise hain, okay, because kaise is for respect. Okay, so that is why you should know which word to use. So that is very important. Okay, whether you have to use the word kaisa, or whether you have to use the word kaisi, kaise, or kaunsa, kaunsi, or kiska, kiski. So this is very important. Okay, so if you understand these things, okay, without any confusion, okay, or without any objects, okay, then most probably, so you will not make any like mistakes, okay, in the basic grammar. Okay, so you should have a better understanding, okay, of these things. Okay, and now the next question phrase is how much, okay, which is kitna. Okay, we use kitna for when you're talking about like uncountable, right? And then how many, which is kitne. Okay, so how much is kitna and how many is kitne. Okay, and then we have why not, okay, which is kyun nahi. So why is kyun and why not is kyun nahi. Okay. And if you want to say yes or no, then it's like ha ya nahi. So ya means it is or. Okay, so ha ya nahi. Okay, and if you want to ask is okay, is it okay, then you have to say theek hai. Okay, theek hai. Okay, so these are the question tags. So kya, kab, kahan, क्यों, कौन, कौन सा, कौन सी, कौन से, किसका, किसकी, किसके, कैसा, कैसी, कैसे, कितना, कितने, क्यों नहीं, हाँ या नहीं. And then finally we have ठीक है. Okay, so these are the most common, okay, the question tags, okay, that we use, okay, to ask questions. Okay, so these things I think you can memorize. Okay, because you should know what is what is when, what is how. Okay, you can memorize these things. Okay, so now let's proceed further. Okay, so
माफ कीजिए अध्यापक जी.
हाँ बोलिए वेंकटरामन जी.
मुझे एक और वर्ग में भाग लेना है.
अच्छा अच्छा.
तो मुझे लीव करने को.
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके ओके ओके
परमिशन.
ओके, आप जाना चाहते हैं. अच्छा ओके, अच्छा कोई बात नहीं. अच्छा, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. ओके, क्लास ज्वाइन करने के लिए बहुत धन्यवाद. ओके,
आपका वर्क बहुत अच्छा है.
ओके, बहुत शुक्रिया. अच्छा, ओके ओके, थैंक यू. ओके, थैंक यू, ओके, बाय. अच्छा, ओके, गुड. अच्छा, ओके, so let's continue. Okay, so now on this slide I am just giving a short introduction, okay, about the tenses. Okay, because I'm not going to discuss in detail. Okay, so I'm just going to give a short introduction, okay, about the tenses. Okay, so now, like in English or any other language, we have different tenses. Okay, so we have the present, we have the past, we have the future. Okay, we have this present simple, present past. Okay, this present perfect, continuous. Okay, so we have so many tenses. Okay, but here I'm just going to talk about the simple tense. Okay, the present simple, the past simple, and the future simple. Okay, so I'm not going to discuss about all the tenses. I just want to give you some idea, okay, about the tenses. Okay, so now the present simple tense. Okay, so for example, if you want to use or if you want to say something in present simple tense, okay, then for example, if I want to say I live in Chennai, right? So this is present simple. Okay. So now in Hindi, I have to say मैं Chennai में रहता हूँ. Okay. So in present tense, okay, if the subject is my, okay, then in present simple tense or in most of the present tenses, so we say whom, okay, H-O-O-N. Okay. So now my Chennai में रहता हूँ. Okay, I live in Chennai. So now, if I want to change the tense, okay, if I want to change the present simple tense into the past simple tense, okay, which means it becomes I lived in Chennai, okay, which means sometime in the past, okay, I lived in Chennai. So in Hindi, I have to say मैं Chennai में रहता था. Okay, मैं Chennai में रहता था. So for example, if I use the word tha, then I am talking about the past tense. So for example, if the same sentence, okay, if for example, if a female, okay, if a woman, okay, if she wants to say the same sentence, then she should say मैं Chennai में रहती थी. Okay, if it is a male, then he should say रहता था. Okay, if it is a female, then she should say रहती थी. Okay, so here it is about your gender. Okay, it is not about the opposite gender. It is about your gender. Okay, so मैं चेन्नई में रहती हूँ और मैं चेन्नई में रहती थी. Okay, if a male person has to say, then he will say मैं चेन्नई में रहता हूँ and मैं चेन्नई में रहता था. Okay, and now if I want to say this in the future, that simple tense, okay, so I'm talking about the future. So I will live in Chennai next year. Maybe I'm talking about the next year. Okay, I will live in Chennai. Okay, so मैं अगले साल चेन्नई में रहूंगा. Okay? And if it is a female, मैं अगले साल चेन्नई में रहूंगी. Okay, so if it is a male, then it is रहूंगा. Okay, and if it is a female, then it is रहूंगी. Okay, so here I am talking about the future tense. Okay, so the present simple is मैं चेन्नई में रहता हूँ और मैं चेन्नई में रहती हूँ, and the past simple is मैं चेन्नई में रहता था और मैं चेन्नई में रहती थी, and the future simple is मैं अगले साल चेन्नई में रहूंगा. Okay, और मैं अगले साल चेन्नई में रहूंगी. Okay, if it is a female. Okay, so this is about the simple tense. Okay, so as I mentioned before, so I'm not going to discuss in detail, okay, due to lack of time. Okay, I'm just giving a short introduction, okay, about the tenses. Okay, okay, so today I think I discussed about the first person singular, which is my. Okay, and then we have मेरा, मेरी, मेरे, and we also have मुझे. Okay? And then I also discussed about the question tags. Okay, and finally, okay, I have given a short introduction about the tenses. Okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss today. Okay, so thank you so much for joining this demo class. And if you have any questions, or if you want to say something, or if you have any comments or any doubts, okay, so you can ask me. You can ask me now. Okay, so we have few minutes before we end this session. Okay, so please, yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I really like the way you taught today.
Okay. Thank you.
Pretty clear, and the concepts are very clear.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I wanted your, will you be please sharing your contact details so I can continue the classes with you?
Yeah, you can contact me through this UrbanPro, right? Because you can see my profile. Okay, and
Fine, okay.
yeah. So you can get the information from the website.
Yes, yes, sure. Thank you.
So you can book the lessons. Okay, and
Yes.
do you have any questions? And what is your like mother tongue?
Mother tongue is Konkani. So,
Oh, Konkani. Okay, you mean Goa?
yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay.
Actually, Mangaloreans, we are.
Okay. Okay, so Konkani, right? Okay. So
Yeah.
then I think maybe I have to.
English, through English.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because as I mentioned, okay, so English, because for example, I also have students from other countries, right? Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
they know only English. Okay, so they don't know Tamil or Kannada or any other language. Okay, because if you know English, because you also know Konkani, right? So maybe
Yes.
even in Konkani, you have the same concepts, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But it's a bit difficult. Going with English will be better for me through it.
Okay, great. Because I cannot teach you
Yeah.
in Konkani because I don't know Konkani. Okay, so I
Yes.
will teach you. Yeah, I will teach you to English. Okay,
Yes.
so that is
Yes.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you
Thank
have
you.
any questions or was everything clear? Okay. Yeah, I think this is my profile. Okay, so you can check my profile. So it is in the chat box. Okay, so if you don't have any questions or if you don't have any doubts, okay, so then thank you once again for joining this demo class today. So it was nice, okay, talking with you. Okay, so thank you, and you all have a good rest of your day. Okay, so thank you and dhanyavad. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.